Oh yeah. Yeah.
And, what year was this created?
Well, this is a 1949, and they were built from 1948 to the early 60s.
48. But they didn't have a long run. Why did they get replaced, and what did they get replaced with?
Well, they got replaced with Cub Cadets or Bolins or Wheel Horse, and they weren't they weren't willing to change and retool to make a completely different tractor, so they couldn't compete. That's why they went out of business. The literature shows a buzzsaw that would sit out in front and be run by a belt.
Oh, right over here.
Yeah, would be run right off this pulley. I don't think it was a very popular attachment. I don't think it had enough power to really do it. And they also show a small generator that could make a small amount of house current.
It's really not all that different than tractors of the last 30 years, though.
Right, right.
Same idea, just clearly an older one.
Yeah.
And this is what is model type garden tractor 1956.
Well, it's really a 1949. This sign is for a different tractor. Yeah. I forgot to bring the correct sign.
Looks repainted. Wow. So this originally is an American tractor.
Oh yes, they were made in Stratford, Connecticut by the Baird Machine Company.
What machine company were they made?
Baird Machine in Stratford, Connecticut. They produced high quality machine shop equipment.
Do they still do it today?
No, I think they went out of business in the last year or so, from what I have been told.
My name is Bill Scholl from Wappingers Falls, New York. This is a Briggs & Stratton engine. It's a model WI. It was built in the early 1940s. Originally, this setup with this water pump from A.Y. McDonald Company was an electric motor. It was converted over a number of years ago with the Briggs & Stratton engine in. It's a 1.5 horsepower.
Different kinds of things was it used for?
It's strictly a water pump, just to pump and circulate water. It has a kick start, or you can have a rope pull start. My guess, this pump here would probably, back in the day, be like the sump pumps that you would have in your basements today to pump water out of your basement or your cellars of your homes.
Did you say what year it started?
Early 1940s.
40.
This tractor is a 1941 Farmall regular. I'm sorry, it's a Farmall B. It was rebuilt and finished back in May of 2007. Horsepower on the tractor is approximately 20 horsepower. There are a number of attachments that you can have for the tractor: plows, spring tooth rakes, mowers, sickle bars. It runs on gasoline. It does come equipped with an electric starter, but you can also start it by hand crank.
Where would that hand crank go?
You crank and start the engine from the nose of the tractor, from the front. The hand crank would go into the nose of the tractor in here. And that would turn the crank of the engine, and that's how you would start the tractor.
So that was the first way of doing it. And what year was the hand crank used?
I have a 1929 Farmall regular at home, and that's a hand crank start. So crank starts were initially very early 1900s.
Beautiful color, recently painted.
Yes. Originally colored, it was red. My dad and I found this tractor. It was half buried in the ground.
Why was it half buried? Was it covered? Was that weather? Was it just old?
It was old. It wasn't used for about 20 to 25 years. The gentleman that saw my father said, "I have this tractor. If you want it, come get it." And we went to his house. on the north side of Pleasant Valley and jacked it out of the ground and towed it onto our trailer and brought it home. It was a good investment.
What makes it a good investment overall? Was it because you found it, or was it because it was originally made so well? Or
it was because it was found. We got it for free, so that was a plus on that side. And when we got it done, when I finished the tractor 2 years ago, it started right up.
How come it started right up? Just all the work you put in, or what was it lucky, or were you lucky?
The only thing my father and I took apart on the tractor was the front end, the gas tank, the hood, the axles. We left the rear transmission, the front clutch housing, and the engine all intact.
Can you point to those 3 or 4 different parts you just mentioned so we know where those are?
The engine here.
Okay.
This is all the clutch housing, the bell housing. Your drive shaft goes through the center into the rear of the tractor where the transmission is. And we left that all intact. We removed all the 2 axles on either side, the fenders and the wheels, the seat, and rebuilt all those, repainted them. And as mentioned earlier, in May of '07, I put it all back together, and she started right up.
Were you surprised that she started right up?
Very surprised. It scared me very much because I wasn't expecting it.
What do you think enabled it to start so quickly after such a long period of time?
Sheer luck.
Yeah, sheer luck.
Yes.
It's a nice looking tractor. It's
Thank you.
kind of an ideal image for a tractor. What do we see here on this side? I mean, what is, if you can point to what we have there in the middle, looking here at the back.
Underneath this cowling here is a rear power takeoff for any attachments that you would draw behind your tractor, like a mowing deck, a hay baler. That way you can power the equipment from the tractor from behind.
What is this amperage telling me here? What is that?
This lever, or
The lever, yeah. What is the lever?
this is your gear shift for your forward speeds and reverse.
Yeah.
It has 4 forward speeds, 1 reverse.
Okay.
This amp meter is for the generator that's on the front side of the engine to read out how many amps the generator is putting out for your lights. This lever here is for the rear belt pulley, so you can power equipment off the rear of the tractor like some of the other items here are, driven by flat belt.
And what kind of things, I mean, this tractor could pull, you name it, right? I mean, what kind of, this would pull all kinds of things.
It would probably draw a single bottom plow with no problem, a hay wagon or small trailer, mowers, a number of implements for the tractors. I don't know them all offhand.
What was significant about this tractor when it came out? I mean, what did it do that its predecessor maybe didn't do?
Its size and a little bit increased horsepower, its availability to the market, it's less expensive.
Less expensive than what? I mean, what was it?
Maybe not less expensive, but more affordable than some of the other tractors out on the market at the time.
And that was important when you were considering multi-purposes and...
Correct, and Depression era times, pre-war.
I mean, did they use it to drive the kids around too and fun things, or?
Parades, tractor parades. Yes, they do that too. This side of the engine, as you can see, has the steering column for the front wheels. We have dual brakes. There's one for each wheel on the rear end. Left pedal, left brake, right pedal, right brake. And right now they're connected in between here with a metal bar. So now they act as one. The left pedal is the clutch brake, clutch for your transmission gears.
about right here? We covered this on the other side, or?
This is the starter for the tractor. The lever pushes, activates the starter. It runs on 6-volt battery, as most cars run on 12 volts. This is on 6 volts. This is the magneto on the tractor, which creates your spark for your spark plugs.
Okay. And the front is very attractive too. It's a little bit like the front of a car, would you say?
Yes, yes.
Is that what?
Front grille, behind the grille is a radiator. There were 4 tractors in this series. There was the Farmall A, there was a Farmall B, there was an AV, I believe, and a BN. As far as the number of years that they spanned, I'm not positive on the dates.
And there's lights on the tractor. Would people do a lot of work at night with those lights?
They would try to. I don't know how much light they give out. I've never driven it at night. It's probably just to get you back into the field, from the fields to the barn when it got dark.
And Farmall, is that the name, Farmall?
Farmall.
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 Farmall. And what was Farmall? Is that still a big name? Are they out of business?
There was Farmall, there was McCormick Deering, and they were all bought up back in the 30s, 40s by International Harvester Corporation.
I'm Vern Roberts of Wingdale, New York. I got a 1966 Alex Delmer G17 Series 4 and a side mower on it, sickle bar mower on it, and it's one of the best tractors I've owned. And I've owned a few other ones, WD, a D10, I've owned a D12, and I've owned Farmalls too. I got an 8. Farms, this one is my show tractor. This tractor is all original. It's just been restored, painted and stuff, but it's all original. It's got 1,300 original hours on it. I bought it with 900 hours on it. And it's a top going tractor. Everything's all been redone, new rubber, new rims, everything, right from bumper to bumper. I bought brand new wheels and everything for it. I just wanted to upgrade, update it and stuff. The others were still good shape, but I just wanted to put everything new on it. It's better than it came out of the factory.
And when you say better than the factory, it's because you chose individual parts that were better than what?
It's the same engine, nothing been. It's just been new gaskets, new radiator hoses on it, new belt. That's about it.
What's Series 4? Is that significant?
Yeah, it's a Series 4. It's the last year they made these in '66.
What was the compartment here for? I mean, what's that? What's this wall? Why is this?
This is a fenders.
I mean, well, how come it's not on all the tractors?
Well, some you can get them without them. Back then, some of them you had to pay original extra for them. Every piece of machinery was a little bit more than others. Like you could buy the starter was a little bit more on some of them. The lights were a little bit more. You know, you buy a strip tractor, and by the time you added stuff, but it did good. Everything's still all original. Get the radiator, the tires, all brand new. The metal work on it was excellent. It just had it, you know, sanded down, repainted.
How old was it when the original? When was this built again?
This was sold in October the 11th, 1966. I bought it. After that, it had 900 hours on it. I got 13, almost 1,400 hours on it. I use it just for parades and shows, pulling wagons, hay rides. It's my show tractor.
So you don't use it for any kind of work?
No, not right now.
Buying it new, what would it cost?
Something like this, if you had to buy it new today, it'd probably cost you 30 grand or better.
Wow. Firestone wheels and everything.
Yeah. Got high-low range in it, spin-out tires, spin-out wheel adjustable front end.
When you say spin-out wheels, you mean the wheels come out further than?
Yeah, they're adjustable.
So they can go all the way in like that?
Yeah, they can go way in and way out. The front end does too. You can go out another 10, 12 inches. It's for like if you're doing row crop, corn or stuff.
Wow. Beauty.
It's a 4-bottom plow tractor.
mower here.
Yeah, sickle bar mower. I don't have the blade with it. Just
What was this mow? I mean, just hay, or you use it for regular lawns?
No, you use it for hay and oaks and regular hay. Yeah, you probably could mow 10 acres a day or better.
I mean, if you mowed with this, you'd mow huge lots.
Yeah,
you wouldn't waste it on a little lawn.
No, you'd go big hay field. Yeah.
Are you doing the Halloween hay rides this year?
Probably up where I'm from, they'll probably have something. If they do have it, I usually help.
What does a show like this teach us about the evolution of machinery from the Industrial Revolution today? I mean, does each engine inform the next generation about how to improve things like regular technology?
Yeah, it's all back. Then when they used them back years ago, that was top of the line then. Now it's way back, but a lot of them still use the old steam engine for different things. And tractors used for pulleys, you know, putting corn in the silos still, some farmers do. You know, a lot of things all update today, but a lot of them still use this.
What was the first tractor or engine that you worked on, and what was that like? How long did that take and everything?
My first tractor I drove was a CA Alice Chalmers in 1950 on the farm where I'm originally from, up in Cernak, New York, up near Plattsburgh. My dad had a dairy farm, and that's the first tractor I ever drove, was a CA Alice in 1950. And I got one. And in fact, I got 10 tractors. And this is one of my favorites, it's 17.
You have 10 for fun or 10 because you need 10?
No, I got 10 just for fun, for pulling. I go to tractor pulls, shows, and I love it. I and my son and my daughter, we go.
And can you take a tractor and drive it down the street? Is it against the law?
No, you can drive it as long as you've got the sign, your three-way sign in the back, you know, your triangle. You've got to have your triangle when you're on the road. In the back of your tractor, if you're pulling a wagon, you've got to have a triangle back of that for slow-moving vehicles. But I take courtesy when I go on the road. If I'm up by, I pull off and let traffic go.
What kind of things can you pull here besides the obvious hay and children? What are these for?
Well, this is a closed farm now, I guess, as far as I know. They still have horses here and stuff. They still do haying. But this is the first time I've been here. And I'm just donating my time with the hay, give kids rides and stuff.
What makes this farm special to visit and bring machinery to this particular farm?
Well, the old antique stuff. A lot of people want to see this old antique machinery. Some of them never seen it. Some never had hay rides. I've had 3 or 4 kids today never had hay rides before. They didn't know what it was, so I showed them.
And if are farms just as important as they were in the 50s or perhaps the late 19th century? Are they as important with all the technologies?
Yeah, they are. Some of them are doing, some have still got beef cattle and some has got horses. I help out a couple farmers. One's got beef cattle and the other one we just do the hay to sell it to pay for keep the fields clean and pay for their taxes, I guess.
Mike Mohan, these are early farm engines from the 1920s. And we have several water pumps that we're driving on the belt. And just a little something for display. Show people what they were used for and how they were used. That's a Myers pump. It was built in the mid-20s by the F.E. Myers Company. And they were used to pump water for housing and construction work. Anywhere water needed to be pumped. They were used in farms, building construction. And a very reliable unit.
What made it reliable? Was it its...
Basically its simplicity and the quality of the workmanship when they built it.
When was late 19th century or?
About 1925, 24, 25.
And how does exactly, can you give a brief description of how it works?
Well, they called it a piston pump. There's a piston that drives back and forth and it has leather
Can you show me?
Pumping washers. No, it's internal inside and you can't see it.
Oh, okay.
It's driven by a belt on this one here. Some of them might have had a chain drive from a sprocket. but it was all the same principle. A piston pump, and it would pump water from a well or a stream in construction work and road work building, or a well on a farm or house.
How about this is a beauty, huh? This is a real beautiful machine.
Yes, this is a 1925 economy engine. It was built for the Sears and Roebuck Company and sold through them. And they were a very reliable engine, quality workmanship, heavy built, and they ran for many years, dependable service.
Why were they called economy machines? Were they?
Well, it was just a brand name. It was a catchy, you know, there was a lot of companies building these engines at the time. And the economy was a catchy advertising name, implying that it would run economically, which it was true.
But it was also the brand name.
Yes, the brand name, economy, sold by Sears and Roebuck.
Wow. Can you, what's this part here? The gold box there.
This is the Wyco magneto, which supplies the spark to the spark plug for the engine to fire. And that was an improved version of what they had earlier, and it was very reliable and dependable.
And the wheels, they're very...
Yeah, these are the flywheels. They're very heavy, thick, all cast iron. So when the engine fires, the momentum of the flywheels help to propel the water pump or saw wood, whatever you were using at the time.
What replaced this particular machine?
Well, the lighter version of the multi-cylinder engine, an air-cooled, smaller engines. This is only a 3.5 horsepower engine, but it weighs somewhere around 800 to 900 pounds because it's all heavy-built cast iron. And although they were portable on wheels, they're pretty rugged to move around in tough terrain. So the lighter weight, World War II basically, you know, had a lot of new inventions and new modern stuff that needed to be brought into remote areas.
Why World War II? Was it the urgency of the war that made these machines important?
Yeah, the urgency of the war always brings on new technology.
Why is that? Because of the sense that the people just needed for winning, succeeding in the war?
Yeah, succeeding in war, and just they needed to get equipment into very remote areas, and the lighter, more power, more efficient they could do that, it was better for them. That was the official color, a bright red, just like that, with the bow tie economy decal on the side.
And what's that piece on the other side there that we can't see?
That's the muffler. That large black round thing is the muffler. And this one here is a John Deere engine built around 1930. And that was a very reliable engine, and it had an enclosed crankcase where the oil and dust and dirt couldn't get in onto the gears and everything. So that was a big improvement over the earlier version.
Where is that?
It's located right here. This is the top cover of the crankcase, and that keeps the cylinder enclosed and keeps dust and dirt.
Can you show me that again?
Yes, this is the top cover for the crankcase here.
Okay.
Before that, on the earlier 20s model engines, and before the crankcase, the piston is all open, and grease and dirt and dust from the feed grinding and sawing wood, sawdust would get in on the bearings. And if you didn't keep it clean, in no time it would eat up the bearings with the dirt. So the enclosed crankcase was a big improvement.
What is the bucket of water there, and how is that working, that little box of water?
This little box of water is an opening on top of the engine, and that's cooling water for the cylinder of the engine. You fill that with water, and it heats up and it just evaporates, and that cools the engine. And as you need more water, you just add it in. And these are hit and miss engine. The engine only fires when it needs more power and slows down. The advantages to the steady run or throttle governed engine was that it ran steady. So when they came out with generating plants to light your home or farm, and you needed a steady run on the engine, the throttle governed engine was better because it had a consistent running speed. The hit and miss would surge in power on certain types of work, like generating electricity. This engine is driving an early 1920s Gould's water pump. It's very much like the Myers, very reliable, heavy, strong built. A piston pump also. And they would have been used in construction and farms and homes. Around the turn of the century, only the wealthy big estates could afford to have running water in their homes. And these pumps would pump water from a well up to an attic storage tank, and the water would be fed to the house by gravity from the attic down through and have running water in the home.
What would the people who are not wealthy do in
Most of them had the old hand pump on the well outside. You go out and pump your water, and then if you were real lucky, you had a spring, and some of them had a hand pump in the kitchen on a sink, and they would pump the water directly at the kitchen sink with a hand pump.
What makes this pump special over the other ones? Is there anything in particular?
No, it was just it's a portable size. It could be mounted on wheels like the engine is and moved around on a construction site or on a farm. And the advantage was you had an engine to drive it. You didn't have the hand work anymore. And some of these earlier pumps were also hooked to windmills that pumped their water.
And how long would they run before you had to refill them with the gas, or how did
Well, basically we can run all day on one tank of fuel, which is about 2 gallons or less. The idea of the portability on the wheels, you could just drop, when you were through pumping water, you could take the belt off, the drive belt, and the ladies would use these smaller machines to run, excuse me, a washing machine and do laundry with them, and different chores. The portability was great. Would take the belt off and move it where you needed. And this baby here is it's an Alamo brand engine. It's a 1 horsepower, and this is from the mid-20s. Hit and miss design, and as I said before, if you can see the open crankcase in the back, that's what made it different from the enclosed crankcase.
So where is that now?
Well, it's turning back here, and the bearings and the back of the piston are all exposed there. So when you're doing dusty work like sawing wood or grinding feed, the dust from that would get into the bearings, and if you didn't keep it clean, it could destroy your bearings in a short time. So the enclosed crankcase came along, and that made things easier.
Well, what's this on the side of the wheel? What's the function there?
That's a belt pulley, and you've hooked your drive belt on that, and you could run your machinery off of that belt.